Journey was, growing up with Gorilla Monsoon's family. Yeah, well, the first thing we had to do is when we got there was set up the ring. Because the ring was always the first people to get there, set up the ring, and we're the last ones to leave. And, I mean, we got to say, me and Tony Chimel, I never missed a shot. But the first big match, I really did get real famous for was 1, 2, 3 Razor Ramon kids. So.
Great. Did you see it was one of your greatest moments?
And one of them was right there, the Rock and Hogan match. That's the show to it right there.
The Brock Lesnar Kurt Angle match. What was your overall feeling on that? Like when Brock missed the spot with
the insult? I was hoping he was going to get through it.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for checking out the 601 Talk Group channel. My name is Richard Brown. Over the Royal Rumble weekend, I had the great opportunity to fly down there to Tampa, Florida from Winnipeg and meet up with none other than the iconic legend, the longest tenured referee, the third man in the ring, Mr. Mike Chioda, at his home. While we were there, we did a private signing, and then I got to go into Mike's home studio. We recorded the following interview, and I'll be forever grateful for Mike Chioda and his hospitality for allowing me into his home to do that. I hope you like what you're about to see, as you're going to hear some really good stories from his time with WWE, some of his time with AEW, a few stories from behind the scenes, and a few funny moments and iconic matches that he got to do and be a part of. Before we get into this video, I want to thank everybody for following along, as this is my very first interview that I've ever conducted. And I also want to send a huge thank you out to 6 Star Construction out of Brandon, Manitoba for their sponsorship and support. 6 Star Construction offers services like plumbing, heating, new construction, home renovations, insulation, and more. To contact them, please call 204-720-6190. That's 720-6190, as they service the Western Manitoba area. Now, I'd like to turn it on over to another iconic legend. However, he's not a referee. He's the GOAT of ring announcing, Mr. Tony Chimel, for an official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Chimel here, the GOAT of ring announcers, and you're listening to the 601 Talk Group with your host, Richard Brown. Today is going to be a super show. Enjoy.
Hey, Chioda, thanks a lot for having me in your house.
No problem, Richard. Thanks for coming, man.
It's an honor. It's crazy that a little boy from Manitoba, or a big boy from Manitoba, would be sitting in
I was going to say little boy.
Sitting in your office here with all this great merchandise.
That's it, man. Yeah.
All the years that you're on the road, 35 years total?
Yeah, 30 years total, but 35 with WWE. Yeah.
Nice. How's a big weekend coming up here?
Yeah, big weekend with the Rumble coming up. Getting ready for some ad-free shows, doing a live thing for the CM Punk and Rock match at the Royal Rumble in 2013. So,
do you have did you ref that match?
Yeah, referee that match. Yeah.
Do you have any memories from it right off the top of your head?
Yeah, it was an awesome match. It was CM Punk and the Rock at his name fortune. Look where CM Punk is now. Look where Rock is now. I mean, it was just great to be a part of that match. 2 icons and 2 legends working with them.
Yeah. Speaking of the Rock, it's crazy with the breaking news yesterday with him being on the board of directors.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
TKO.
It's awesome.
It's good to see.
Yeah, it is. It is good to see Rock back.
He's the true head of the table
That's
now.
Right. That's right. We'll see.
So, do you have any plans to meet up with anybody this weekend from WWE?
Yeah, just not from WWE, but if Rey Mysterio was in town, I was going to meet up with him. But he's been out with his knee injury, so just going to hang out with some Jack Swagger with Jake Hager, and stuff like that.
How's life been with post WWE?
It's been good. It's very good. It's actually it's a little slower than I used to be with traveling, but it's all right. It's nice to actually be home and pay a mortgage to your house and be home for it all the time.
Just imagine.
Kind of do what you want to do, and living in Florida here, man, we got so much stuff to do here. It's just phenomenal. There's so many different beaches, and so many. If you want a vacation, you come to Florida. But once you live in Florida, it's pretty much a vacation on its own.
Yeah, I left minus 10 weather this morning.
Yeah,
while it was minus 46 Celsius. To come here, and it's like this is like summer weather for us.
Yeah, 80 degrees.
It's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
In January.
So, palm trees. I'm used to seeing snow and no leaves or nothing on there right now. So, what was your journey to get into the wrestling business?
Journey was, growing up with Gorilla Monsoon's family. And growing up with Gorilla Monsoon's family was nice. Growing up with Joey Marella, as I have a picture over there with him. of him, and he's just one of my great friends. Growing up, and of course, he had a short career with him passing away. But it was great working, for Gorilla Monsoon and Joey, and that's how I started getting into the business.
So you got into the business. Do you remember your, like how everything kind of accumulated?
Well, it came in, I used to do when I was 15 and 16, working for Gorilla in the summer times off from high school and stuff, and setting up the rings and taking robes and playing music and doing this. And, when I was a young kid, and, you'd make $50 for setting up the ring, $50 for taking robes, $50 for timekeeping, $50 for playing the music, and you'd make $200, and then we'd go out and sell programs, and I would sell programs and stuff, and, before the show, during intermission, after the show a little bit. And you'd make 10 cents off the dollar back then, in the early 80s, this was. And so, I mean, when you sell 3,000 programs, you made $300 selling programs plus your other 200. So it was very good money. I was a baseball player, wanted to play baseball, but then my father took a stroke when I was 17.
Oh, man.
Massive stroke, and he couldn't really, he was, couldn't really support the family as much. So I wanted a way to make more money. I was working in a machine shop and welding and stuff at that time at 17 and 18. And I went back into WWE. I asked Gorilla. It was actually WWF, of course, back then. And, and Gorilla got me back in with Joey and stuff. And then it all took off from there. Just hard work. And Tony Chimel and I did the ring crews for at least 20-something years. Driving around all over Canada, United States, Canada, all over the place, man. And setting up.
Get some pretty good stories probably from driving over all over the roads. Go from every type of weather. And 2 or 3 days, snow up in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Drive south to the States. There's nothing.
Oh yeah, we used to drive all over in the cold, and a lot of times we used to take our truck into Canada. But then there's times that we had to go to the West Coast, and we go up to Kamloops or Vancouver in certain areas in Canada. We used to have to rent a truck, get it out of the storage bin, get the ring out, and steel cage, and then drive it all up there and stuff. So
where would the storage bin be kept?
It would be like any storage place, any storage facility, and it would be in Seattle somewhere. So we'd fly into Seattle, get it, and then go over to Vancouver and certain other areas.
That makes sense, rather than hauling it around coast to coast, coast to coast.
Yeah, and we used to do that too. So
right. What was the longest distance you drove in a time period?
I'd say from LA to Connecticut, 3,000 miles in a few days we had to make it.
Yeah, that's one end to the other.
Yeah, so we did the whole down on I-10 all the way up and all the way across the country. And then we went up across the top of the country on 80 and stuff. We used to drive that way. Sometimes we take different ways just to see different parts of the country.
Yeah. And that's pre-air ride seats, or was it?
Well, yeah, the first ring truck we had wasn't such a nice ring truck. It was a cube box truck, and then we worked our way up into nicer trucks. Yeah. So as the company got bigger, we got better stuff.
Sleeping across the seats or sleeping in the
seats together. Something like that. Then we finally got a truck with sleepers and stuff like that. So that was much better.
I drove truck for about 5 years myself, and so I kind of have a rough idea. But I was in comfort. I wasn't in any box truck with no sleepers or nothing like that. So it's I kind of understand how it would take a toll on your body. And
it did.
And then you have to go and perform that night as make sure your reffing skills are up to par.
Yeah, well, the first thing we had to do is when we got there was set up the ring. Because the ring was always the first people to get there, set up the ring, and we're the last ones to leave. And then we would change and transition into referee, and Chimel would ring announce and stuff like that. So,
with setting up the ring, what time would your day kind of start? If you
it would start early in the morning, man, like 8 o'clock in the morning. For a live event, it would start early, and we'd get there, set it up by 12 or 1 o'clock and stuff, have everything set up by 12:01, and you would get out at midnight pretty much after tearing down, and then drive 3 or 4 or 5 hours to the next city.
Tough going, but
yeah, it was
takes
tough
going. Takes a special breed.
Yeah, it did. I mean, we got to say, me and Tony Chimel, I never missed a shot unless, if it was a snow cancellation because it snowed too much, or a blizzard or something else, but we never missed a ring crew shot. Never.
That says a lot about you too, really.
Yeah, it's
dedication.
Yeah, it sure was. Dedication, loyalty.
You remember your first major WWE match that you reffed?
The first one I remember doing when I WWF back then. It was Barry Horowitz and the Brooklyn Brawler.
Right.
So that was the very first match I did a live event. Yeah.
Right. What about televised?
Televised,
Major
I
Angle,
can't. I don't
major...
remember if it was Marty Jannetty in a local or was it Yokozuna. It was in, I believe it was somewhere in the Manhattan Center, and it was something like. But the first big match, what really did got real famous for was one, two, three Razor Ramon Kid. So
right,
yeah,
that was quite the turnaround for 1, 2, 3 Kid after that.
Yeah,
right?
sure was, right?
Sure boosted him.
Sure did.
The Manhattan Center. I've heard you speak previously on other interviews, but what was it like to get the ring in and out of?
Oh, it was horrible. It was the worst. I mean, we used to have to piece by piece, and it was this small little box elevator. I mean, the elevator couldn't have been no more than like 8 feet wide, and it was kind of tall, but we used to have to take certain ring parts up there piece by piece. So it wasn't the plank ring we had back then, because plank rings have 20-foot beams, 20-foot this and so forth and stuff like that. It was a different type of spring ring.
So that would be so that was your worst ring probably to get stuff in and out of, you'd say?
That one's close to it.
Right.
Close to it. There's been some other venues and arenas that have been pretty tough.
What would be your favorite venue to?
Favorite venues were like Spectrum, old Spectrum, Madison Square Garden, and some like certain other venues. Those venues had unions there too,
right.
And sometimes you weren't even allowed to touch stuff. You just point.
Right.
So it was just a union thing. So, but those guys, they in Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, and stuff like that, Continental Airlines Arena and all that other stuff, the older arenas. And those arenas, they do shows all the time. So the switch over and the production is on point.
That's
they do rock and roll shows, concerts, or basketball, football, everything. So
they know the ins and outs basically. What needs to go where and how this hooks up. And
right.
Was there any ever clash between the union workers and the WWE workers, or was it always pretty easy?
No, for the most part, it was never really a clash. I mean, sometimes certain unions would be a little strict. Oh, you can't touch that. We got to get some guys to come over and get that. But for the most part, they. We were doing shows there once a month sometimes.
Right.
So we knew them very well.
Do TV tapings kind of in a circle?
Yeah, TV tapings too as well.
The Northeast kind of
pay-per-views, all that. Yeah.
What was your greatest moment as a referee in the ring? What would you say was one of your greatest moments?
And one of them is right there, the Rock and Hogan match. Just to show to it right there. So signed by The Rock, signed by Hogan, and it was one of my, But I've had so many fantastic matches in my career, man. It was Shane McMahon, Kurt Angle match. I mean, there's so many, the Brock Lesnar Big Show where the ring exploded, and I didn't even have to really ref that match. It was just all about facials and how to sell the ring exploding. And, But, I can't take away anything from when, I used to work with Bret Hart and so many matches with him and The Undertaker and stuff. So, I mean, it's just an incredible list because, of course I was there for 3.5 decades.
Right.
But, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, WrestleMania, and Triple H and Batista, and this one and that. And Shawn Michaels and John Cena working, The Rock and Cena.
Right.
So there's so many matches for different things.
The Brock Lesnar Kurt Angle match. What was your overall feeling on that? Like when Brock missed the spot with
I was hoping he was going to get through it, and he powered through all that. Brock's a strong guy, man. And he's a great guy to work with, great talent. And he's just, he's just on point. When he gets in here, he's just in another zone. And then you have Kurt Angle, another guy that just, comes in here and he's in his zone. He came into that match banged up. Kurt Angle.
Yeah, he had a broken neck already, right?
Yeah, needed neck surgery after this and something else was going on with him. And with Brock, with that finish. But, they got through it, man, tough through it.
So do you have any other good memories of working with The Rock that you mentioned, WrestleMania?
Yeah, it's, great memories working with him and everything. Everything we did on the outside of the ring was probably illegal to talk about. So
all the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff and everything. But here's a thing signed by The Rock right here. This is from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, many, many years ago. And, and it's just, certain things with, made the Canadian, what was it called? The Sun?
Toronto Sun?
Yeah, it's right there for WrestleMania 2002.
Oh, right.
Right there with The Rock and Hogan match. There's a lot of great memories with The Rock, man. Just working with him and for him, it was just phenomenal. You know, I mean, did anybody know like The Rock was going to be as big as he is now?
Yeah, no kidding.
No way. You know, like, and I always thought he was because when he left wrestling, I knew he was going to make it in Hollywood because the person that he was, I always remember him saying he came into our business with like $1 in his pocket, and he tells that story, I'm sure, a million times. But just the guy's personality and just a great guy.
For sure.
I mean, he was a fantastic guy. Always, man, treated people the way they should be treated, the way he wanted to probably be treated. I mean, look where he's at now. I mean, you don't get that far from being, not a good person. That's for sure.
No, that's right. That lots of charisma for sure.
A lot of charisma, man.
Lots of seems like a genuinely.
He is a genuinely
good guy.
Yes.
Shane McMahon. You mentioned him with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Do you have any good stories of Shane McMahon?
Man, a lot of good stories of Shane McMahon.
Inside the ring, outside the ring.
Yeah, inside the ring. Inside the ring, man, it was just like me and him connected. So it was just, as far as Shane, he was put on our ring crew for quite a while there. And he wanted to learn himself everything from the bottom up, how to drive the trucks, how to set up the ring from scratch, how everything works, because he just wanted to know everything. Right. He appreciated the smaller people in production more than he appreciated the bigger things going on out there. He appreciated everything. So, just many, I'm sure we don't have like a couple hours here to do this interview, but Shane has always been one of my fantastic people, him and Linda and everybody in the family, when I first started with the company. And I have nothing but great things about Shane, man. Nothing but great things.
It's been talked about lots, and it's on the YouTube reel if you look it up, but when you're running down the ramp and he sideswiped you.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite bumps I ever took, man. He plowed me. I told him to bring it. He brought it. He bought it, man. But it was great. The crowd went nuts. We went nuts when we got back because we just, it was awesome, man.
How many seconds or how many minutes did it take to catch your breath after you're
done? A couple, a little bit there. Thank God I was out for quite a while there. So yeah,
you could sell it truly.
Yeah, I mean, I was like this close from the steps. I remember he took me off my feet, man. It was just the timing was perfect. It was just couldn't have been any. And he's built, even back then, he built like a brick shit house, man. He's a thick dude. And he brought it, man. We were just so happy. And just the time. Imagine if the timing doesn't work on that. And he goes right by me.
Right.
And I don't, and he doesn't time that perfect. And we're not. That was great. So, I mean.
He'll be the next world slide underneath the ring.
Titus?
Like Titus.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Were you there for that?
Well, yeah, we all popped. We popped and laughed. Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, thank God he didn't get hurt because, I mean, the steel frame is right there. Like, the frame is this wide.
Well, the stars align for him.
And I mean, and he's a big dude.
Right.
If he would have hit his head on that with the speed he was going, oh, my Lord.
Just real quick on Mike Tyson, you had a little small part with Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, WrestleMania 14.
Sure did.
What was he like
He was great, man. He was great. I mean, when he came, I remember we had rehearsals a couple nights before the WrestleMania there in the Boston Garden, and it was such a mecca building to work into, Boston Garden, and I remember him coming in with his his entourage, and I remember he came up, he's like, "Hey, Mike Chioda," and I was like, what the hell? I was like, you know my name? I'm thinking, I couldn't wait to meet him. Like, hey, Mike Tyson. So many fights that, God, I remember taking a piss and we were all together watching his fights. He was so good. I remember I went to the bathroom one day, come back, and I heard everybody screaming and yelling. The fight was over. Like in 90 seconds or 70. I'm like, I'll never go to the bathroom during Mike Tyson fights again.
That's good.
But he was a great guy, man. It was easy to work with. He loved wrestling. I
remember watching that pay-per-view, and it was. I remember you were on the outside, kind of keeping an eye on everything, and he was were you inside the ring?
I was inside the ring, and I took a bump. I took a bump in the corner.
Right.
So I get smashed a couple times in the corner. Yeah, I didn't tell him to count that fast, but
right. Yeah, he did. That's right too.
He counted pretty quick.
The post interview, he said, "Cold Stone."
Yeah,
Cold Stone. You're the man, or something.
Cold
like that.
Stone.
Yeah, that So you got let go in 2020
Yep.
from WWE.
Yeah.
You got a small run in AEW. Can you talk a little bit about how your
Yeah, I mean, Cody wanted me to come down, and he wanted me to do this part with some of the matches and work it a little bit here and stuff like that, and I was like, sure, So I went down to AEW. Great vibe, great time, great place. They were great people. I loved the vibe down there. It was like going to a family reunion,
right?
I mean, because I knew so many people there already, So and then unfortunately I didn't get signed, but they did call me last year, about a year or so ago, to do Owen Hart's tournament and stuff like that. So I mean, hey, if they call me once in a while, that's great,
Well, that's you're there if they need you, right?
That's it. I still got a little left in the tank, so
for sure. Yeah, you probably have a lot left in your tank.
Yeah, get me out there, I will.
So what are some of the scariest moments, let's say, outside of the ring? Inside the ring and outside of the ring.
Inside the ring, I'd say with Ahmed Johnson, when he threw me over the top rope. It was Triple H and Ahmed Johnson, and he was supposed to press me over the top onto Triple H, but he actually tried to throw me from he couldn't. He was so gassed up from the match. He was so tired and blown up. And he tried to get me over the top rope, but he was just so far from the rope. So when I went over the rope, boom, I kind of just hit the end of the ring, boom, neck and everything. So actually I couldn't feel I had a nerve damage, a quick punch in the ass. So I couldn't feel anything for a little bit. It came back pretty good. Yeah, and actually it was in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, really?
That I know, back then it was God knows how many years ago that was, 25 plus years ago or so. But yeah, I mean, I was in the hospital for a couple of days, but everything worked out great.
Man, that would have been scary to not feel your fingers for a little bit.
Yeah, I was very nervous, man. That's all I remember. Triple H in my face saying, "Hey, they still will get you help. We're getting an ambulance."
Oof.
Yeah, but yeah, it was all right though.
Triple H, there's also a famous clip online of you and Triple H taking on that fan in Germany for Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Do you recall anything about it?
Yeah. I remember being in the ring, everybody's selling, and all of a sudden I hear some other stuff going on. Right, turn around, this guy is next to Triple H gets up and boom, he takes him down, and I'm trying to kick the guy, trying to kick him in his head, trying to do this, and Triple H was like, "Hey, stop, Coyote, you're kicking me." I'm like, "Sorry, Trip." I'm trying to just get in there and help out any which way I can. It was weird because we were in Germany, and the security thought that was part of the show. So they were just standing around doing nothing. If you notice how long we were in the ring without security jumping in, this guy they thought it was part of the show.
Man, so I could have went sideways if nobody caught him.
Yeah.
Stone Cold stayed on the ground the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's the baby face. He don't want to beat him up.
Right. He doesn't want to get up and beat him up. That's right. You talked about Shane McMahon and the big bump on the outside. Do you have any other major bumps that you took that you remember?
There's tons of bumps I've taken, whether it's the ankle locks and this and super kicks from Shawn Michaels, and stuff. Taking tombstones to choke slams to a lot of stuff. So
I remember watching, I don't remember what show it was on, Raw, SmackDown, or if it was a pay-per-view, but I remember I believe it was a Legion of Doom knocked you from the outside of the apron, and you actually went into the crowd over the barricade.
Oh, probably did.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like that was a wild.
Came from Animal and Hawk. Yeah, I probably did.
Yeah, that's if I was wrong about who it was, then I'm not sure I'll get corrected. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna do a few more questions here. Thank you very much for your time. It's great.
Sure,
but,
no problem.
I'm just gonna name drop a few people, and I you could just say one word about them, or say pass if you don't have anything good to say about them.
Gotcha.
Bring up anything, but you talked about driving the ring truck, so let's start with Tony Chimel.
Man, like a brother. Yeah, he's helped me out so many ways. He's a few years older than me, but at that time, when I'm 18 or so and I start full time, he was 21, 22 almost, and he always used to look after me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was a great guy, and he always used to look after me and give me, great advice and all the other stuff. So. Yeah, I have nothing but respect for Tony Chimel, man, because we worked so hard together for this company we worked for many years.
Probably spent more time with him than you would your own family.
We did. I mean, we were on the road 23, 25 days a month sometimes. So,
What about Brian Hebner?
Brian Everett is a good guy. I mean, I thought he was a fantastic ref
Yeah, he was
coming in. I mean, I thought he was going to be one of the best refs. I thought he was going to have longevity with the WWE. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Yeah, it's just I thought he could have been one of the best refs in the business.
Definitely.
On the main stages.
Definitely, he has the high intensity, and he's
Yeah,
fast, and
no
he's
doubt. Yeah,
on his feet. Yeah.
yep.
What about his dad, Earl Hebner?
Yeah, Earl. I have none but respect for Earl too, man. I mean, he paved the way for a lot of us refs too. And even when Earl came in, I was with the company, I was doing crew and stuff, and I was reffing, but I didn't make my debut on TV till like '89. When he came in, I knew David before.
Right.
David was a very good guy, agent plus referee as well. He refereed a lot of matches like the Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat match many years ago, and then they did the switcheroony with Hulk Hogan outside that main event, and I was backstage for all that. It was fantastic, and I mean, Earl, I felt bad with Earl being in a situation he was put in 1997, the screw job and all that. And God knows what I would have done. I would have had to probably do the same thing, man. You got to feed your family, or else you're going to be without a job the next day.
So. I'm a huge Bret Hart fan, being from Canada, obviously, but you got to feed your family.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're working for.
It sucks to say that because Bret was with the company 15 years. At that time, I think I was with the company 12 years, from 85, 86 till like 80, 97. And you see that right there.
Right.
Cape Times.
Where's that from?
See that?
Nova Scotia?
South Africa.
Oh, South Africa. Okay.
Read the date on that. You see the date?
April 2nd, 1997. Wednesday, April 2nd, 1997.
And that was right before coming up the Montreal screw job, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the spring. I think the screw job was November.
Right. And it was in November, Survivor Series. So. And that was 5 months right after, before that.
I remember watching right before the screwdriver talking. It was in October, this house show in Winnipeg, and Bret Hart faced the Undertaker.
Right.
And that was one of his last shows in Canada before he went back to Montreal when they did the pay-per-views.
Yep.
What about R-Truth?
Oh, I love R-Truth, man. That's one of my boys, man. Yeah, Ronnie's good people, man. I love his music that he's been putting out. It's sad to say I used to travel with R-Truth all the time, man, on the road. And it just, since I haven't seen him in quite some time now. So it's just sad. We talk once in a blue moon. It's kind of sucks when you live your separate lives because you lose contact a lot. So.
Right. He seems like the type of guy that would just uplift the mood in the room.
He does. He can uplift that mood anytime, any place, anywhere, man. He's just a fantastic guy. Just got such a great personality. Good beat, man, to his personality.
Well, that's good.
He's awesome.
I'd be silly not to mention a fellow referee who is also from Canada. What about Jim Corderas?
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Corderas. Yeah, I would love Jimmy's great, man. We used to travel, me and Chimel, of course, and him, we used to drive in the cars a lot. And sometimes the ring trucks and stuff like that. But Jimmy, man, once he got going driving down that road, he was the DJ and everything.
That's awesome.
And he used to drink his Pepsi. I think it was always Pepsi. And,
okay.
Boop, boop, out the window, boop, 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 boop. And he'd drive and he'd be a hell of a DJ and singing to every song. He knows every word.
Plug your ears, or is he a decent singer?
No, he was pretty
good,
decent singer. Yeah, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
That's good. We'll finish this up with John Cena.
Yeah, love John Cena, man. Worked him for many years and stuff like that. Had him sign that to me, like one of those things right there. I was from Japan. I remember 2010 it was, right?
Yep.
There was one shot over there with him and Shawn getting ready to go at it. Yeah. Just had many great matches with Cena. I mean, the guy, when The Rock left, John Cena took that torch, and what a hell of a job he did for a decade plus, with the company. He still does it when when they're calling him. It's unbelievable. He was always a guy that was always there, always working hard, and loyalty with him is huge.
I always like listening to him at the end of a TV taping or a live event.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get on the mic and address the crowd when the cameras stopped rolling. He always had something genuine to say about the city, something to say about the fans, made you feel really good about being there.
Babyface, he's got to do that.
It was like just right off the cuff too, and he's beat up, and he's has headaches and everything else.
Now you hear him on the commercials doing cars.
That's right.
Yeah, he's doing all the card.
Yeah, that's
Honda and all that. So.
Right. I'm from Manitoba, small town from just outside of Winnipeg, a couple hours. Yeah. I was just doing a little bit of reading up a couple weeks ago about a legendary promoter, Doc Holliday. He was from Winnipeg. He always promoted the Winnipeg shows, North Dakota, Brandon, Saskatchewan. And he had a following quote just after, not to bring this segment down a little bit, but just after the tragic passing of Owen Hart. Mm-hmm. And he was saying how a Winnipeg-based promoter was chasing a fictional reporter from quote-unquote Prairie Home Living magazine who was supposedly hassling wrestlers about being uncooperative. He even called Holliday on the phone, disguising his voice and impersonating the make-believe troublemaker. Everybody was in on it, and he had Holliday going for 2 days. Do you ever have any incidences with Owen or any good stories?
I don't remember that instance.
No.
Yeah, but I remember Owen used to remember. I remember he used to rib Zeus overseas and so many other guys, and he used to send 20 pizzas to the room, 20 pizzas to somebody's room. I remember Owen ribbed me. I think Owen in Japan one time, and when he ordered like 8 plates of I ordered a dinner, but he told them to bring 7 more plates, and they brought out like 8 bowls of spaghetti and something else. I was like, I didn't order that. They're like, oh yeah, you're not. I didn't order that.
Does it look like I can eat all this?
Yeah, Owen, but I see Owen like, he would cut jackets, like suit jackets, and he would cut them, and somebody would go put it on. He'd cut them like halfway, so then you put it on, your arm goes straight out, and your sleeves hanging here. His shoelaces, he used to cut the boots all the way up to the middle. So there was one time when I used to do crew too, and ref. I was doing crew. I used to be in charge of music in the back with the headsets, right by the tunnelway where the wrestlers walk in and out. And then I remember I had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bathroom real quick. And all of a sudden, I'm in the bathroom, and I'm on my way back. I hear the music playing to the finish, and I'm like, wait a minute, that match had 10 more minutes to go at least. Oof. And I'm like, why is the music playing? Swear. And then the game said, hey, Chioda, what the hell are you doing? You're not supposed to play. I'm like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I get on the headset, hey, yo, guy, why did you play the music? He was like, you just told me to a couple minutes ago. Oh. I'm like, I didn't tell you nothing. He's like, you just told me 2 minutes ago to play the music. I'm looking at Owen. He's over there.
That's awesome.
It's just a lot of stuff.
That's innocent fun.
It was. A lot of it was innocent fun.
Cam from Winnipeg. He's a young 20-year-old referee. Works for CWE indie promotion up there, and he does a few different promotions around the area. Okay. He wanted me to ask you, or first of all, he wanted me to tell you he watches all your WrestleMania matches.
That's cool.
He wants to just wants to know how to do it and follows you a little bit, and he looks up to you quite a bit. He wanted me to ask if you had any kind of advice for a brand new referee / one that has a little bit of experience.
Well, Cam, the only thing first, hello and thank you for being such a big fan, Cam. You just gotta get trained by with the right people. I'm kind of like training a guy now, and he's been in a wrestling school for 4 months. And he was counting at their butts. He was counting at their legs and counting all the positioning, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, he's like, yeah, that's why I'm asking you to train me, Mr. Chioda, because I don't feel like I'm learning as fast as I should. I'm like, you've been there 4 months and they haven't told you positioning and counting at the shoulders is so important. So, I mean, it was just the ways, positioning yourself for counts, making sure you look just like a referee, not like one of the talent, they don't want tattoos up the arms and all this and long hair, and you just got to play the part as a referee. There's so much to learn to become a referee. So, I mean, the rules definitely apply to rules, positioning rules and so forth, and your cadence on your counts is, and I mean, we could sit here an hour and tell Cam how to do it, but so.
Got a small little seminar right here, Cam.
Yeah.
From the legendary Mike Chioda.
That's all good.
Who were 3 people in your life who influenced you positively? Made a huge difference.
It's been my family, And, for the last, you know, at least 12 years with Meredith, my wife, she definitely gives me a lot of positive influence and stuff. But it was always my mom. My mom was always the one I always used to check in with, check out, and so forth. My dad had passed in 2020 after having a stroke in '84, and so he passed in 2020. But my mom's always been one of my biggest influencers, and my sisters. I have to say, influence in the business, that's something different, whether it was Gorilla Monsoon or certain other people, and in the company. But I'd have to say, personally, my family is my mom, my sisters, and Meredith. Yeah,
That's awesome. I was, I know this isn't about me, but my dad was a long distance truck driver and was gone long time.
right.
So it was always, I was the oldest, and my mom was always there. It didn't matter if she was sick, tired, hurt.
That's right.
She also has multiple sclerosis.
Oh,
And there was a
bless.
time in my life where it's like I thought she wasn't going to be able to walk,
Right.
but she's kind of had a few different things go the right way, and she's been
doing much better.
Doing much better.
God bless. It's good to hear.
So
that.
I understand when you say your mother.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I hear you,
That's
man.
great.
Yeah,
So,
I have to say.
So, if there's anything that you want to plug, your Instagram or Facebook?
I'm on Twitter more often. You get me on my Twitter account at MJC Chioda, and I have pro wrestling shirts, t-shirts and new designs, ref my childhood and all that stuff.
Right here.
Yeah,
Right
there's one right there. And
Awesome.
pro wrestling tees. So that's it.
And then you got the podcast on ad free.
Yeah, I got the podcast with Pauly B.
Yeah.
Pauly B and Mike C on ad free. So
yeah, that's awesome. Adfreeshows.com if you want
that's
to get
it.
behind
Ad free shows. Yeah, we have fun. We talk wrestling, of course, sports, food, everything, traveling, just everything, to Cologne, to this, to that.
Yeah.
We talk it all.
If you're not hungry before that show, you're going to be hungry listening afterwards. Every time.
Yep. Unless me, Pauly, go back on a keto diet, we gotta not talk about it.
You might talk about the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah,
then, right?
yeah, right. Sugar free.
Oh, that's great. So thank you very much for sitting down with me. You made a boy from Manitoba's dream come true today. I got some autographs signed by you. I mean, you're a beautiful house, and got to sit down and
thanks
pick your
for
brain.
coming.
So
You got it
very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much.